How's it going, everybody? The core combat update happened a while ago and most people should have settled in by now. The light spam complaints have gone down a bit and the characters have found their place in the still developing meta. So I want to take this opportunity to talk about the one hero that I think is probably the biggest winner. But mind you, I did say winner. I'm not saying Zhanhu is the strongest hero. I'm not saying he's outclassing everyone else or anything of that sort. My point here is that from all heroes, he probably made the biggest jump from where he previously was to where he can be found now in terms of viability. There are plenty of other heroes that also got stronger. Look at Black Prior, probably the strongest he's ever been now, but he didn't improve all that much compared to before. He has already been ridiculously strong, he's just a tad stronger now. But Zhanhu was a dumpster fire of a hero that is now finally usable. But I also think that people might let their personal fun cloud their judgment a little. What I mean with that is that he is a little bit like the first iteration of Shaolin. The hero allows you to press quite a few buttons, and as that is something new, not necessarily limited to Zhanhu, but you can press more buttons on a lot of heroes now. But with the mid-chain recovery cancels into good dodge attacks and somewhat fluid movement, people do have fun dancing in the middle of teamfights. And that's the point, because they're having a lot of fun and doing well. I think Zhanhu is regarded slightly higher and some of his flaws are swept under the rug. But let's just look at what makes the character good now and in what departments he's still severely lacking. First point, the blue zone. This is similar to Warlord's situation. An undodgeable attack with lots of forward momentum and almost 360-degree hitbox out of neutral is an insanely good tool. This lets you do two things. For one, it's an amazing peeling move. If you see a teammate get GB'd or parried, you throw your zone their way and most likely interrupt said punish. It'll catch people rolling away or otherwise trying to disengage and get away from a fight. Also stop opponents from chasing your teammates in case they want to get away and actually heal. But on top of that, the move is pretty safe. Like I said, this attack has pretty much a 360-degree hitbox. Sometimes I feel like I could hit people with it twice. Meaning you put everyone around you in hit or block stun, which makes it much harder for them to punish you for using it. Especially in mid, since you can lock on to minions. It also can be used in chain and thus allows you to keep chaining out of it, which allows you to punish attempts on you as well. I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise. The zone has always been pretty good, and 100 milliseconds less indicator, well, that helps out. But at the same time, it's a free deflect in 1v1s, especially if you repeatedly use it to option select. In terms of reach, where the zone already does a good job, the delayed forward dodge attacks also have decent range, giving him alright chase. But talking about the dodge attacks, those were not addressed when they added additional indicator length to dodge attacks. They are still fast as fuck. A 300 ms indicator makes them unreactable for pretty much everyone, which makes them the single dodge attack that can be used from neutral. Combined with the recovery cancels and target switching, these are quite nice to get some damage in. Emphasis here is on some. The speed of them is reflected in the damage. They do only 9 damage and both heavy as well as light input still count as a light parry, which means that if your opponent made the correct read, the attack can be punished for 3 times as much for most characters. There is no doubt that they land way more often now, but the risk reward is still not in favor of the Zhanhu. And I'm aware that empty dodge into GB does exist, but with the multitude of different option selects at the moment, the chance of that GB being successful is rather small in my opinion. And let's not forget, the mechanics behind these dodge attacks did not change. They are still dodge cancels, meaning they do not have extra iframes. Delaying the input properly or not delaying it depending on situation, whether you want to dodge something or quickly punish a move, makes them harder to use compared to the brain dead dodges like Kensei's for example. Okay, but on to more positives. Unblockable finishes. Differentiating between light and heavy finisher should no longer be possible because of the faster indicator. There might be a handful of players, and I really do mean only like 10 maybe, that are still able to parry on flash. But for us normal matchmaking players, if we get parried, it means our opponent made the choice to parry at either light or heavy timing before seeing our indicator. Having 30 damage on the finishes is also pretty good. People like running Winner's Advantage, which gives you another 20% extra damage, making this a 36 damage Unblockable heavy, with a pretty decent hitbox, which is also pretty easy to access. Now the debate is once again, are these hitboxes really good? Left is pretty decent, sure, but the right side heavy has always had this weird hitbox that often confuses both the Zhanhu as well as the person getting hit. It is a very unintuitive hitbox to say the very least. The fact that it hasn't been touched nor mentioned by Ubisoft probably means that it is working as intended, and maybe if someone has really good oversight of a fight, they can make good use of it. But usually when we talk about good hitboxes, we think of Kensei Zone, Kensei Sidelights and Heavies, Warlord Zone, Jungjun's Heavy Finisher, stuff like that. Zhanhu is like the adopted red-headed child that we somehow lump in there. None of this should be new to you guys. We've gone over this way back when the hero was released. This is pretty much just a reminder that what we considered a flaw at his release is still unchanged, yet not seen as much of a problem anymore. Or maybe we just accepted that we need to work around it. Nevertheless, they are very much usable, especially in teamfights where Zhanhu absolutely shines. Target swapping unblockables and dancing in between opponents with your recovery cancel dodge attacks, that's right up his wheelhouse. Zhanhu is not a hero that can do everything, but on the other hand, I've praised Chugoki as being really good despite having a very niche use. Zhanhu can still 1v1 in theory, he can semi-reliably punish bashes unlike so many other heroes that simply fall flat in that regard. But it's also only for 9 damage. Compare that to a Conqueror that gets 18 damage per bash with Shield Basher and can on a correct read simply full block your dodge attack and punish it for 20. As I said before, risk reward is in favour of the opponent. The tools are there but require you to use them so much better than the guy you're fighting. In ganks, he can add damage, but that's about it. Then Feats. Pretty much every meta hero, or S tier hero, whatever you want to call it, had ridiculous feat choices. Look at Black Prior, look at Shaman. Sometimes heroes were solely picked because of their feats, like Zhanhu with Soothing Mist at launch. Zhanhu? Not so much. His feats are decent, but far from a broken selection. He does have choices, I'll give you that. He's not stuck with a single loadout. 3 of his uniques are pretty decent. Bounty Hunter, Winner's Advantage, even the bow. I mean, a 50 damage off-screen projectile is at the very least a decent choice. But not a single one of his feats is close to broken, let alone worth a ban in competitive. I hope all the points that I brought up put things a little into perspective. Zhanhu has improved greatly and is tons of fun to play. Just for the single fact, I can recommend everyone to at least try him if you haven't yet since the core combat update. But we also need to relativize things here. He still has quite a few shortcomings compared to other characters. But let me repeat just so everyone understands it. Zhanhu is really good now, not even close to the throw pick he was before. It once again shows that characters can be viable without having every single mechanic and then something. Try him, you won't be disappointed. Having said that, hope the video was helpful. Thanks for watching. Laters everybody.